Welcome to the Friday Show with CJ Wellerman, presented by Inside Arabia. I'm your host, CJ Wellerman. Thank you for joining us here today and every Friday for a breakdown of some of Inside Arabia's coverage and analysis on the MENA region. And make sure to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a single episode. Our coverage this Friday examines the trilateral rapprochement between Israel, Turkey and the UAE, what Russia's war in Ukraine means for Syria, and the Lebanese government's move to forcibly deport Syrian refugees. Now let's get started. We begin with Fuad Shahbazov's article into the fascinating dance that's taking place between the governments of Israel, Turkey and the UAE, as they figure out how to work together to counter Iran and its proxy forces. But while the establishment of closer ties between Israel and the UAE has been well reported in the wake of the Abraham Accords, or what former US President Donald Trump called his deal of the century, the rapprochement between Turkey and the Arab monarchy has slipped quietly under the radar. You see, Turkey and the UAE make for strange bedfellows, given they have pursued foreign policies that run counter to each other since the Arab Spring of 2011, with the UAE viewing Ankara as inseparable from its arch-nemesis, the Muslim Brotherhood. But Turkey's economy has since hit the skids, leaving Prime Minister Erdogan open to new foreign investment opportunities to not only stave off further economic despair, but also his political opposition. From his perspective, the UAE's offer of $10 billion for critical investment could not come at a more opportune time. But as Shahbazov rightly argues, this money buys the UAE a crucial ally in its struggle against Iranian influence in the Red Sea and the Horn of Africa. Ultimately, there's nothing like money and a mutual enemy to refocus the mind and form new friendships. We shift now to Christopher Solomon's analysis on what Russia's war in Ukraine means for Syria, a country that has been bogged down in a decade-long civil war because of opposition to Assad's brutal rule. But the Syrian dictator should be deeply alarmed by what he's witnessing in Ukraine, because should Russian armed forces continue to suffer humiliating defeats on the battlefield, forcing an ultimate retreat from the European country, then this will leave Russia's hand in Syria drastically weakened, which in turn leaves Assad increasingly dependent on Iran and China for his own survival. On the other hand, should Russia pull off a surprise victory in Ukraine, then Putin will be in a position to adopt a more aggressive policy to better support the Assad regime, which would spell more trouble for millions of Syrian refugees who have been subjected to Russian military bombardment in Idlib province for years. Further complicating this geopolitical tug-of-war are the opposing interests of the United States and Turkey, with both viewing Russian weakness as opportunity to fulfill their respective objectives in Syria. Finally, we come to Clément Gibon's article on the unfolding human rights travesty taking place in Lebanon, a country that has been a haven for 1.5 million Syrian refugees since the war in Syria began in 2011. But Lebanon has endured its own socio-economic challenges in recent times, with mismanagement, corruption and political infighting leaving the country's economy in ruins and its political leadership paralysed. These conditions have made vulnerable Syrian refugees a convenient political scapegoat for Lebanon's political class, and explains why President Michel Aoun said Lebanon could no longer handle the burdens of continued Syrian displacement, while calling for their return to Syria, a move that has raised alarm bells among human rights groups. I mean, we are talking about human beings who have suffered long enough. People who witnessed the murder of their family, friends and neighbours, and people who've lived lawfully in Lebanon despite being deprived basic human essentials, including food, safe drinking water, healthcare and education. Today, 94% of Syrian refugee households face challenges when accessing food. But sending them back to war-torn Syria, where they face certain persecution, imprisonment, torture, forced military conscription or execution is a moral abomination. These people have nothing waiting for them in Syria. Their homes were bombed by the Assad regime, their possessions were stolen by the militias, and employment opportunities remain non-existent. But in Lebanon, despite its struggles, there remains hope for a brighter future. Clearly, the international community has a responsibility to do more to alleviate the suffering of millions of displaced Syrian refugees. You can find all three of these articles and more on InsideArabia.com. And make sure to follow Inside Arabia on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Anyway, that's my time for today. This has been the Friday Show with CJ Wellerman. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next week, same day and same channel.